Hey, what's happening, everybody? So we're going to be talking about grain lines and how to navigate yourself understanding grain lines. What is a grain line anyway? It's an arrow that runs on a pattern or that is drawn on a pattern going up and down. It's a two-edged arrow, right, on a pattern. So it can either go up and down, it can go across, or it can go in a particular angle. So we're going to understand how to navigate yourself around understanding this grain line, right? So a grain line in its, if I can draw one real quick for you guys, let me go and draw a grain line. So a grain line is that sort of arrow, and it's a rule that you can never really break. There's ways around them, but we try not to break the rule of the grain line. So what does that mean when you see this on a pattern? It's an indication of how to lay the pattern on the fabric. So where on the fabric? That's the question, right? So the grain line needs to be parallel to the selvage of the fabric. What is a selvage? So the selvage is the nice finished off edge. So when they were weaving the fibers together of the fabric to create this fabric, they have finished off a nice edge on the fabric that is called the selvage. And this grain line, which is this arrow, needs to be parallel to that selvage of the fabric. So imagine that this line is the selvage, this is the arrow on the fabric, on the pattern, and you need to be parallel to the selvage, going the same direction, either up or down, or we are still maintaining the parallelity. We are parallel, right? So what if you have yourself a grain line going that way? What does that grain line mean? So this grain line is called a 45-degree bias grain, right? So this is a bias grain, so meaning the pattern that has this grain line, when you are stretching the fabric, it gives you a lot more stretch on your fabric when you are working with grain lines like these. But remember, this grain line also has a rule. It needs to still be parallel to the selvage, right? So when the pattern has a grain line of this, you still have to maneuver that pattern to still go parallel to the selvage. So when you cut it on this parallelity, it will still have stretch in the fabric compared to a grain line that is lengthwise grain. So when you cut it, this will be 99% of the time you'll be working with the lengthwise grain, right? So what if you have a grain line going that way? This grain line is called